Okay, so I am here today with Murphy Mays out of the Green Bay office. She is our executive director there. So, hi, Murphy. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks so much for joining us. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and just kind of your background at MDA?
Sure. So, like Kim just said, I have been with MDA for almost 4 years now. I'm the executive director in the Green Bay office. So I first started out as a fundraising coordinator, and then I was promoted to a development specialist just a little over a year ago. But then shortly after that, I got the opportunity to apply to the executive director role. And I've been in that role for almost a year now, so I've been loving every second of it and getting some new opportunities here at MDA. I was born and raised in Green Bay, so I'm a huge Packer fan, and I also love to dance. I teach dance on the side too, so that's a little bit about me.
Oh, that's fun. Love it. All right, so we are talking about the four disciplines of execution with you today. So tell me a little bit, why did you decide to do the four disciplines with your team? And also, how did you go about implementing it with your team?
Sure. So we had a leadership meeting with the Chicago region just before the holidays last year, and we talked about our WIG goals and the 4DX training and program. And one of our WIG goals we decided was to complete the 4DX training and to complete our DISC training. So that was kind of lumped into a staff development goal for the entire region. So that was something that I was really excited to bring back and implement because the Green Bay team, we've implemented it in years past, but it's kind of fallen off the radar or slipped between the cracks. We were really strong and heavy into our WIG goals in January, February, March, April, and then, it gets to our busy season with Silva Boots and galas, and it kind of fell to the wayside. So I was really excited to bring this back into our office and make us more goal-oriented and continue through the remainder of the year.
Awesome. So how did you go about, once you brought it back to the office after doing with Kate and the other ADs, how did you go about implementing it with your team?
Sure. So Kim actually has an enrollment list that you can reach out to her and get on that list. There actually is a wait list, I believe, so it might take you a little bit of time, but there's also like a facilitator's guide on the Learning Center that you're able to do as well if you don't want help from Kim, but I highly suggest it because she was really helpful going through the process, and when we had questions, she was able to be there for us and help us as we went along.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of leaders just in that first session and setting the WIG goals with your team, having that support, whether it be me or your leader on board to do that and kind of walk the team through the process is great. So Murphy, can you kind of tell me, how'd you go about gaining the buy-in from your team?
Yeah. So we have a fairly new team besides myself. So the team has been very goal oriented in the last year, just trying to figure out, what works best for them and helping them set their goals. So I was excited to bring this back. With the excitement that I received from our training back in November, Kate and, the rest of our leadership team was really excited about this 4DX training and our WIG goals, so that got me excited. So then I was able to bring that back to my team, and it just kind of trickled down. Everything starts with you as leadership and showing people, what's important to you and what excites you and what you want to bring to the table to create a better team. So that's something that we did too, and we always try to make our WIG sessions fun and enjoyable. So we always, I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but we sit down 30 minutes every month and just talk about our goals, and we talk about last month's goals, and then we set goals for the following month, and we always just bring in a snack and make it fun and, giggle about some things that happened the month prior and what we're looking to do to implement in the next month. So that's something that I did to gain our buy-in as a team, because I know it can sometimes be a little bit difficult, but just coming from the leadership standpoint has been really helpful for me to start out by bringing the excitement to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All starts with you for sure in gaining that buy-in. So that's awesome. All right. So we're going to probably have some EDs on the session that you won't be able to join us on, but that are on the call that have not yet implemented the four disciplines with their teams. So what advice would you give to those EDs?
Sure. So the first piece of advice, what I would say is when you first begin implementing it, you need to stick with it. It doesn't need to be one of those programs that, we're just doing it to check it off of a box or check off the box or check it off your list. It's really something that can help you grow your fundraising goals and your staff development goals or your family engagement, whatever it might be. So that's something that was really important to me to continue in our office, making it a part of your everyday schedule. We also always refer back to our WIG goals during our one-on-one meetings, and that's something that my staff really likes as well, just because it helps them hold themselves accountable for what they said that they were going to do this month. And then, I mentioned this, I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but it's about helping them set their goals too and coaching them to figure out what the best goals are for them. One of your staff member might come in and say, I want to try to get 5 new sponsorships for our Muscle Team Gala. And then, it's really good to be able to take a step back and say, is it really possible, do you think, to get 5 new sponsorships, or should we set 5 new meetings? So I think a big piece of advice would be being able to learn how to coach your staff too in setting those goals. And then obviously holding them accountable for for what they've done and then what they're planning to do in the upcoming months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's perfect, because really the WIG sessions are what you make them, right? And so, like you said, if you have a staff member that's setting 5, Muscle Walk sponsorships, and you're like, okay, you got 1 last week. Okay, maybe we meet in the middle at 2 or 3 this week and we get to 5. Sure. But coaching them to that. And I think the other thing, I've sat in a lot of WIG sessions where, it's like, okay, somebody reports that they didn't do what they said they were going to do, and then the leader just moves on to the next person. And it's like, no, I know these are supposed to be short and sweet, but they have to be effective, and we have to make sure that we're coaching our team and getting them there. So pausing and saying, okay, is this something that you're standing in your way, or is it something that I can help you with, the team can help you with? So that really helps being effective as well. So what would you say, how do you go about keeping those WIG sessions priority and making sure they are effective for every single team member?
Sure. So like I mentioned earlier, we have our monthly WIG meetings every month where we sit down and we discuss our goals and what we're planning to do. And in addition to that, we take about 2 or 3 minutes during our staff meetings to all kind of discuss where we're at with our WIG goals and what our lead measures are for that week. So that's something that's really important too, to be able to hold them accountable for that. Not only the whole month's goal, but the week, what your plan is to get to that final goal. So that's something that we're really good at in this office. We never, we try not to miss it in a staff meeting. We always have our monthly meetings. They're reoccurring throughout the rest of the year, so they're on the calendar really far in advance, so everyone knows that that's coming up. And then another thing is, to keep it kind of at the forefront of everyone's mind, is we have our WIG scoreboard in our conference room. It takes up, we call it the WIG wall, because it's basically a big wall of all of our WIG goals and our scoreboards and everything. And then I did send some pictures to Kim, so she has those and she can send those out to you. But that's something that helps us keep our goals right in front of our faces, because we're always in the conference room doing meetings and everything. So.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll make sure and share the WIG wall's brilliant. So I will be sharing those after our meeting. So last question, Murphy. So what has been the greatest impact that you have seen from implementing the 4 disciplines and those regularly scheduled WIG sessions with your team?
Sure. Being in the executive director role for just a little bit under a year now, and being fairly new at the position, I wasn't sure how to best implement this, so I kind of went off, with the seat of my pants, and I just said, let's try to make this fun, let's make it exciting. So seeing the rest of my team be excited about it has been something that's been really great for me to see. I think it's been a really big impact on my staff too, just to have those goals in the forefront of their minds all the time. And then I really enjoy also seeing the staff looking forward to their next meetings, and we are always talking about our WIG goals, whether it's in passing and they're walking past my office, or we're sitting down in here eating lunch, or whatever it is. I feel like it's brought up in conversation quite a bit. And then I think the most important thing for me that's been really impactful is these WIG goals gave us an opportunity to focus on some things that fell between the cracks in 2018, just because, as I'm sure a lot of people were, we were really understaffed, so we had to focus on important things, but everything's important. We set our goals of more family engagement, more staff development, and then, of course, hitting our business plan, and seeing the difference in the amount of families we've had engaged in the last few months, and the amount that our team has become closer due to staff development opportunities because of these WIG goals has been really impactful for not only myself, but I think our entire team.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I've heard great things that your team's doing there in Green Bay, and Kate kind of raved about you on the 4 disciplines. So I think you were the perfect candidate for this interview. So just appreciate your time, Murphy, and thanks so much. And if you don't mind, I'll let other EDs reach out to you directly if they have, any questions, that sort of thing, if they're going to start implementing with their teams. Do you mind on that one?
No, yeah, of course. I'm happy to help in any way I can.
So. All right. Thanks so much, Murphy.